We love you just the way you are here at Breakfast All Day. Don't go changing. So we are going to catch up here with the Billy Joel documentary, And So It Goes, a 2-part, 5-hour documentary that's on HBO. It's been out for a couple of weeks. We were both traveling, so we're catching up with it now. But I don't know about you, Alonso. I had so many friends from various parts of my life say to me, have you seen the Billy Joel documentary? Oh my God, you've got to see it. So I watched it and I'm glad I did. And I'm glad that you did too. Tell us about it.
I wanted to put together a group of New York musicians.
They were a bunch of hooligans from Long Island.
Yeah, this is from directors Susan Lacy and Jessica Levin. They were behind Jane Fonda and 5 Acts, among other ones. And yeah, this is a deep dive into the life and work of Billy Joel. He is sort of our constant throughout, sitting at the piano, telling stories. And this movie is very much not the thing that we hate about contemporary documentaries about showbiz people, be they alive or with a very controlling estate. In that this is warts and all. Like this is, here are the bad, financial decisions, and here's the substance abuse, and here's the wrecked relationships. And they get everybody on camera. All 4 wives are interviewed in this movie. Alexa Ray, his daughter, is interviewed in this movie. The best friend whose wife he took is interviewed in this movie. Like, obviously, he's made a lot of amends over the years because everybody seemed very amenable about being involved.
The bandmates he shunned.
Yeah, all these folks. It's pretty impressive. And so, you follow this career that it's really fascinating in a lot of ways. I mean, like, from a first album that could have just sunk him forever because they messed up the master tapes and sped it up and his voice was high, he wasn't for decades that we finally got like an actual correct version of Cold Spring Harbor, to just sort of like being on a label, but having a little bit of a success and touring a lot, but not really going anywhere. But then his first wife becoming his manager and really making The Stranger happen. And then The Stranger in turn kind of making his career happen, and the ups and downs, and, becoming a joke, becoming rediscovered, digging into other kinds of music, marrying Christie Brinkley, for Christ's sake, like all of these things. And I think the documentarians are really shrewd in that they aren't locked into chronology. A lot of it is in order, like this happened, then this happened, then this happened. But there will be moments where they'll be like, okay, we'll come back to that. But first, let's talk about, his dad and his father's family history, and how, these were like Jews who had to flee Germany during the Holocaust, who had their, big business taken away from them because of the Nazis. Let's look over here at, his childhood in Long Island and his mother's bipolar disorder, and then they come back to the chronology, and they pop up the album covers on a timeline, so you get some idea of where you are with it. And it's just really interesting because he's this guy who is like massively popular and beloved, but was not always taken seriously by critics, and was not always sort of easily defined because he's such a musical chameleon that he will incorporate all these different kinds of sounds into his work over the years, so he leans a little more jazzy here. He's more kind of arena rock here. And, and then they get like Paul McCartney and Don Henley and Garth Brooks and,
Bruce
Springsteen to kind of give their, these testimonies about like why he's talented as a songwriter, why he matters as a performer, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I found it really fascinating. I mean, I've had my ups and downs with Billy Joel. There's a chunk of his career that I was like super locked in on, thought was great. And there's other albums that I'm less into, but I just found this story really interesting as just the scope of his career and his, what he overcame over the years and stuff. I was really impressed with this. I found it fascinating.
Yeah, same. And he's such a great storyteller, as we see from his lyrics. I mean, his lyrics are so vivid. You can always see these people and their lives. There's such a specific quality to, who they are and how they live and what they do. So of course he's, a raconteur. He's self-deprecating. He's charming and really, really candid, and owns up to a lot of his bullshit and a lot of his mistakes and all that. And I think the fact that we get all four wives in here is a testimony to, you know, what a fascinating figure he is, and perhaps the work he has done to make amends to them. I liked Billy Joel a lot in high school. When I was young too, like my cousins loved Billy Joel. Like that Stranger album was on. I think it was ubiquitous. But you're right, he's like an enduring through line. If you grew up in the 70s, 80s, like he's just always there. And so one thing I love about this movie is that it makes you appreciate all over again with fresh ears songs you have heard a million times. Like I could never hear Piano Man again and be totally fine. But I totally appreciate it now that I know where it came from. Right. You know, having to work at this lounge because he couldn't record and he'd be able to make money somehow. And so how he takes people and stories from real life and whips them into this beautiful poetry in his lyrics. And so
there was a great online thing that was like, Piano Man is a song where the piano player is the only person who doesn't realize that he's in a gay bar. Because, you know, you got the real estate novelist who never had time for a wife talking to the guy from the Navy, you know, but anyway.
Davey, still in the Navy.
And probably will be for life.
But then Pink says, like, I don't care who you are or where you are, when Piano Man comes on, that is what we were doing for the next 5.5 minutes of our lives. But then Nas has a really cool perspective on it too, as far as how it's like a mirror facing itself and how a lot of all the characters here are unfulfilled. And it sounds like this rousing sea shanty, but it's all about like sad people with desperate lives. Yeah,
it's about a bunch of dead enders in a piano bar, you know. Like how, you know, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant was about like people he went to high school with, you know.
Right, who peaked in high school. And then like I love the story behind Just the Way You Are. Again, a song we've all heard a million times. You're sitting in the dentist's office waiting to get your teeth cleaned, like Just the Way You Are is playing. But the fact that it was such an afterthought on the album.
Yeah,
and
he didn't even want to record it.
He didn't like it. He didn't think it was a song. And then like the people who championed it and how like when they first played that Stranger album for all the record execs, like no one thought there was a hit. I don't hear a hit, they said.
I don't hear a single.
Every single song is a hit. And the fact that his wife pushed, Elizabeth, his first wife, pushed for Just the Way You Are to be like the second single that got released and how that's like the thing that catapulted him to superstardom. Yeah, he's a fascinating figure, you know, and how he kept reinventing himself. And yet I never knew how much of a classical background he had and how that informs, like, as Itzhak Perlman puts it, his harmonic progressions.
I didn't realize that he put out an album of classical piano.
I didn't either.
Apparently it's the biggest selling classical music album ever. So, you know, go figure.
But of course that didn't get any critical praise
no one
either.
Would take it seriously, but you know, but no, I'm kind of curious to hear it. You know, I still hate We Didn't Start the Fire, and I always will.
Terrible.
But, I think, it did definitely make me sort of reevaluate things, and it made me just like remember how much I like. My older siblings had The Stranger, but like 52nd Street, Glass Houses, and Nylon Curtain. Like I really loved, like Nylon Curtain. I were listening to my car in high school over and over and over again.
That's got pressure on it, right?
Yes. And then he put out An Innocent Man. I was like, yeah.
Okay, so I listened to that a lot as a kid because my dad grew up in the Bronx singing doo-wop on the street corners in the 50s. Okay, so this is my dad's nostalgia. This is like me making Nick listen to Depeche Mode, right? So this is my dad had it on.
Boomer.
Right, totally. My dad had it on all the time, so I listened to that album all the time. It was just constantly on at my house. So I have some fond memories of that. But then it's cool when you learn about like the Beethoven lift that he does in the chorus of This Night, you know?
Yes.
And so that, you know, there's all kinds of, it works on multiple levels. And then the fact that the Hurricane Sandy concert, 12-12-12, how that reinvigorated him because he had become this like tabloid joke. One thing that they didn't mention, because it's a very, very thorough, comprehensive film, they don't mention the Broadway musical Moving Out.
Thank you. Yes, I noticed that. And then I thought, was it like, did it bomb? Was it embarrassing? No, it ran for 3 years, and like there've been multiple tours. So yeah, that was a weird exclusion. They don't talk about Oliver and Company. Remember that one?
That is. No.
The Disney cartoon. It's like based on Oliver Twist, and like Joey Lawrence is a cat, and he gets taken in by like street dogs, and Billy Joel is the Artful Dodger dog.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, he sings a song in it called "Why Should I Worry." They don't. They also don't mention the moonlighting episode where Stanley Donen directed that amazing dance number to Big Man on Mulberry Street.
Oh, fun. That's really cool. I mean, I guess maybe it's a rights thing. You got 5 hours. I guess I figure it's comprehensive enough, but
yeah.
I learned so much. And even people I know who are super Billy Joel fans said that they learned a lot about it. I think his time in LA is very amusing and it makes the song Los Angelinos make even more sense because he hated being in Los Angeles and he's a New York guy.
Say goodbye to Hollywood.
Yeah,
and then he literally wrote New York State of Mind like on the bus coming back to Long Island.
I mean, that's just genius, right? I mean, to have that kind of career. And then there's also this Jeff Buckley documentary that's out right now, which is an interesting contrast in that he made one album that was very important and died tragically young, but both had a hard time with fame and a hard time with pressure from the record label. And I guess a lot of that's very true for many artists. You want to put your art out to the world. You're a singer-songwriter. You've got a story to tell, but then there are commercial things,
considerations,
to press down upon you. So it's an interesting kind of contrast there.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a cautionary tale in so many ways. Like the fact that the stranger could have just gone down the memory hole if it weren't for the fact that for his wife, like you said, pushing, just the way you are as a single. The fact that like he basically loses all of his money twice and still comes back from that and is narrating this film from this like mansion on Long Island that, he used to see on the top of the hill when he worked on a shrimp boat and now he owns it, And
now he lives there. Yeah. And he's not doing well. He has a brain issue, but it messes with his equilibrium. But he's he's out there and talking about this movie, and he's 75 years old at this point, so he's very enduring. Favorite Billy Joel song, real fast?
I'm gonna go with "Don't Ask Me Why."
That's a good one. That's a fun one. The fun lyrics. I like "Only the Good Die Young." That's just a solid rock song and like a fun story. Again, you can see all these people. And
I forgot the Catholic Church tried to ban that album, or at least one diocese did. That helped sales.
So funny. Anyway, let us know what you think of the Billy Joel documentary. It's been out there for a little bit. What is your favorite Billy Joel song? Let us know.